A very disturbing story from South Kashmir. A young army lieutenant, a local Kashmiri, he'd gone home to attend a wedding. He was allegedly picked up, kidnapped by terrorists from a wedding, and his body has been found early this morning in the middle of a town square. That's a very strong message that terrorists are sending out, and these are images of Lieutenant Fayaz Parry's mortal remains being taken to his home. His family was really looking forward to his coming home to attend a wedding in the family. This despite tension in South Kashmir. Now the 4 districts in South Kashmir, including Tral, from where terrorist Burhan Wani came from, there has been tension in that area for a long time. Very recently, the army carried out a massive area domination exercise. But this young officer went home to attend a family wedding. His body has now been sent home. That's a message that terrorists are sending to the Indian state. We've heard strong words come from the Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat. We've heard strong words come from SP Vaid, the Director General of Jammu and Kashmir Police. Will this be followed by action against those who kill innocent civilians, police officers, and now army personnel? I want to cut across to India Today's Shuja ul Haq for more on this big story. Shuja, give us details of what exactly happened. Who's this young officer? What is his background?
Well, Gaurav, the residents of this area were shocked to see the body of this young officer in the middle of the square in Shopian early this morning. When people tried to inquire, it turned out that he had come to the area to apparently, attend a wedding which was happening in his maternal side of the family. He himself is believed to be from Kulgam, somewhere in Yaripura, and he's a young officer. We've been told that he works with the medical unit of one of the army units, and is a doctor by profession, a lieutenant, by rank. He had apparently just gone back home and wanted to visit his family. Now, these are the circumstances that we know. We don't exactly know who picked him up, how he was killed, but the police says that there were 2 bullets that have been found on his body, one in the upper part of the body and one in the lower part of the body, and it's the upper part of the body bullet which has delivered the fatal results. The police is saying they're investigating it. The army says they have also started their own investigation. They have sent it across the party to find out all the facts about this case. But it comes at a time when there's already a lot of tension about these areas. Remember, Gaurav, we've been talking about it. The police had to send across a formal circular to its jawans and officers who are working and who are from these areas of South Kashmir, asking them to avoid visiting homes at least for some time, because they presumed that it was very, very dangerous with the kind of attacks that were happening on their families.
Yes.
Now, why wasn't that drill followed with this particular officer by the army is something that we have to wait and watch for as an answer. But yes, it's very, very disturbing. We've seen the visuals as well. His body was lying right in the middle of the chalk. It is a huge signal, a huge message being sent across.
Yes, the body left in the middle of the town square in Shopian. Shuja, stay with me. I also want to bring in India Today's Ashraf Wani for more on this. Ashraf, you've been speaking to your sources both in the army and in the Jammu and Kashmir police. What are your sources telling you? What were the circumstances? Where was this officer? Who picked him up? What transpired?
Gaurav, basically, this completely indicates many more things about the rising militancy in the Kashmir Valley. Number one, when these armed militants came to a marriage function where this young army officer was attending and was a part of that function, they kidnapped him in the presence of people, and no one could just stop the militants or could not conjure with them and to save him. Number two, how the dead body was thrown on a choke, and no one, being seen by the many people witnessing the crime there, no one came to clear unless police did not reach it there. And that all already shows that there is a kind of chaos in the Kashmir Valley.
Yes.
There is the support which the local militants are getting, and that is why they are daring these kinds of attacks in open, not only on the security personnel but their families, also trying to create a kind of fear in the valley, particularly in the South Kashmir, where people will avoid not only to work with the security agencies, but even will not join it. We have seen earlier militants pasted different warning posters in different areas of the Kashmir, telling the people and youths not to join the armed forces, not to join the jobs in the army. But despite that, youths came out in large numbers in different recruitment rallies of police as well as of army. This is clearly a we can say a tactic being adopted by the militants, where they want to pass on a signal among the masses that you should be away from the armed forces, from the agencies which are working for the government of India, and in fact even from the country itself. And that is the signal they are trying to get.
Okay, stay with me, Ashraf. That's a very important point you're making, and I want to take that point to Major General Afsar Karim, who joins us on the broadcast. He's a defense veteran. He's served extensively in the Kashmir Valley. General Afsar Karim, what is the signal that terrorists are sending out when they kidnap a young army officer, a local Kashmiri, from a wedding? They take him away, and the next morning, in the middle of the chalk, in the middle of the town square, his bullet-ridden body is found. What message are terrorists sending? What should the state be doing, General Afsar Karim?
The point is that there is a series of dastardly acts which Pakistani supporters and their terrorists are doing, both on the line of control and inside Kashmir, and especially against the armed forces, which are just doing their duty. This person was on leave. I think we have to act with a lot of caution and see how you can sort this matter out, because it's not a question of acting tough in the valley or saying that there is a bad act. The whole system which works there inside Kashmir Valley, which is based on Pakistani actions, has to be destroyed. And then only this thing will come under control.
So what you're saying, General Afsar Karim, is that a strong message has to go out. Now, what is the strong message? Because we heard General Bipin Rawat, the Chief of the Army Staff, say that, stone pelters will be dealt with, they'll be treated as overground workers, and so on. So we've seen strong words come from the army. The army carried out one area domination exercise in South Kashmir. Nothing really tangible came out of it. The same army convoy that was going out was attacked by terrorists. So terrorists sent out a strong message. Is there a disconnect between statements made by the government and action on ground, in your opinion, General?
I think you are absolutely correct. And also there is something wrong with the policy which the army is following, because it's not been able to control the terrorist activities in the valley. And they have to relook into their orientation of the type of method they are using, how to separate people from terrorists and then take action, very strong action against terrorists. Because this area domination and all that are vague terms which have been adopted from the American vocabulary. They don't fit in this area, because if you concern a lot of people in something they haven't done, just because they belong to that area, that won't work.
Okay, so an officer has been killed. What should the police do? What is the army doing? Shuja, what is action on ground? Was there any intelligence? And as you very rightly pointed out, Shuja, there was a threat that was given out to police officers. Police officers and Jawans have been told not to go home, not to visit their families given this tension. But that is one part of the story. SP Ved, the Director General of Police, said that terrorists have families too. So that was a message that he was sending out verbally. Is the police, is the army taking any action on ground? What is stopping them?
Gaurav, like I was pointing out, this is a very, very different. And we have seen something like this happening perhaps for the first time in many, many years. What action the government will take after this incident is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. But as far as the situation goes, this is not the first time that a person from the armed forces, particularly police, has been targeted. There have been killings, targeted killings, sometimes attacks that have happened. And as we've reported many times, the attacks on families of the policemen have happened. All that the government has so far done is that they have warned their own men to be careful. We understand that it's a huge thing to try and control the situation when, by their own admission, by the admission of the police in itself, there are around 200 militants, armed militants who are active in these areas. So it will definitely take a lot of time for them to bring the situation under control. But meanwhile, what is required and what a lot of people are asking for is that whether the government, both at the center and the state, have a policy in place which does not necessarily have to be only military policy, whether they have a holistic policy to deal with this situation which has been unfolding for last about 6 or 8 months in the valley. A lot of people have shouted on the top of their voices that it was going from bad to worse. People needed to sort of come out and intervene. Why didn't that intervention happen, and why it has led to this situation is because for a lot of times the government seems to be unable to reach out at the ground level, both in terms of their strategy on military level as well as on political level.
Yes, spot on, Shuja, Ashraf, General Afsar Karim. I will continue to come back to you on this big and a very disturbing story this Wednesday morning. A young army lieutenant, a young army officer, a Kashmiri, was killed by terrorists in Kashmir late last night. What will India's response be?